I think we would have. It's hard to say exactly what information we might have had in some hypothetical about how facts and details had changed. But I think we would have. And we talked on Saturday night about the fact that the shelter in place was allowing police the space they needed to do the initial part of the investigation. The crime scene at Brown was still very active, with a lot of evidence and still many people, and of course the shock of something like this happening here. The shelter in place, I think, also gave everyone very clear direction about what do I do right now in this moment. When we got to the morning, the big push at the initial outset at the crime scene and in the surrounding neighborhood had largely concluded, and it was an appropriate time to lift it. Unfortunately, and believe me, I'm disappointed that the initial person of interest turned out to be something of a dead end. Sometimes these things take time.
Were those two things connected? Was the lifting of the shelter in place and the detention of that person of interest connected?
Not directly. The lifting of the shelter in place was connected to the progress that we had made in the investigation and the status of the crime scene. And so obviously we hope to bring resolution to this immediately, but sometimes these things take a little while, and it's not practical or necessary or even advisable to keep a shelter in place for days or weeks. I do not believe it's best practice or protocol to keep a shelter in place in effect until such time as a suspect has been arrested. And again, I'm taking advice from law enforcement personnel and then making the best decision possible for our community. And based upon the advice that I got around the status of their investigation and the status of the crime scene, we felt like it was an appropriate time to lift it. And without knowing exactly what a hypothetical might look like, I think I would have made the same decision.